Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about the COVID-19, I shouldn't have said that, surcharge added to guest checks because businesses are hurting, and we're going to talk about that right after this.
Because I am hard, you will not like me, but the more you hate me, the more you will learn. I am hard, but I am fair. Bullshit, I can't hear you.
Alright, welcome back. So yes, indeed, there are businesses out there charging a surcharge, probably because they're hurting for revenue. I'm being honest. And it's not your right to go out and eat. It's a privilege, right? Just like when you get food delivery, you should tip. But many people don't. And they're in uproar over it. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and show that news clip so you can see what's going on, and we'll come back to it.
A number of restaurants across the country getting creative when it comes to making up for lost revenue. But adding a COVID-19 surcharge to the bill is not something most diners want to pay. The thrill and excitement of going out to eat again has turned to anger and outrage on social media as word started to spread that some restaurants are charging a COVID-19 surcharge with every meal.
I know they're hurting, and that's why I'm trying to support local business and eat out as much as I can, but I don't think they need to charge us extra.
Restaurant receipts from Michigan, Missouri, Illinois, and California all have an unexpected price hike on customers' receipts. A few cents here, a couple dollars there, all in an effort to offset the cost of meat and produce and a dramatic drop in restaurant revenue since the coronavirus crisis started. Brett Frimmel is the owner of Uncle Sam's, a popular family-owned restaurant in Phoenix. Like most businesses, the past couple months have been tough, but he'd never consider adding an extra fee to his customers' tab.
It's insulting. To me, it's insulting. You cannot charge people because there's a problem. We face lots of different challenges being in business, but you never put a surcharge. It's a tax, and you can't just tax people for going out.
You might see some inflation.
Steve Chukri is president of the Arizona Restaurant Association. So far, he hasn't found any restaurants here charging customers a COVID-19 fee, and he hopes it stays that way. He says if the economy is slow to bounce back, raising prices on the menu is better than an unexpected surcharge.
Surcharges in Arizona really have not been a popular thing or an accepted practice as they have in other states. Restaurateurs understand that, and it would be an absolutely last-ditch effort to have to accommodate their cost structure to do that.
Even though most restaurant owners have no plans to pass a COVID-19 surcharge on to customers, they do admit if this pandemic lasts much longer, they'll have to come up with another way to generate more income. Reporting in Phoenix, Jason Berry for Arizona's Family.
All right. A lot of good arguments there, really. There have been a lot of good arguments. The consumer should not have to pay a surcharge, ideally, but kind of in the way, I mean, if you want to support businesses, then, you should go out to eat. I would think if it were me and I was doing that, I would say if you order $35 or more in food, you won't get the surcharge or whatever. Otherwise, like Waffle House, and Waffle House has been doing this for years, that if you get takeout, it's the 10% charge. It's 10% charge for takeout. So, and that's to cover the gratuity for the server, who has to prepare that, and oftentimes cook that. People have a problem with paying extra fees or tips because they feel like they don't need to. That's the bottom line. They feel like restaurants should pay people more, delivery platforms should pay people more, and they shouldn't have to tip. They shouldn't have to pay the salary. Well, unfortunately, my thought is you should. You're the one coming in there. You're the one sitting down. You're the one taking up someone's time. You're the one ordering all kinds of stuff and being difficult. You whatever. Or you're the one that lives up on the third floor and you want 50 pounds of food to come up there. Yeah, you should tip somebody for doing that for you. Anytime somebody provides a service or dedicates time for you and your needs, you need to tip. Bottom line. The surcharges can be insulting. People don't like fees. But the ones that I saw were very little. I mean, I get it. Your bill's up $1.77, but here's my thought on that. If you cannot afford to go out to eat, you shouldn't. If $1.77 is going to break you, send you into bankruptcy court, you should probably stay home and eat. I'm just saying. So, absolutely, one way or the other, I mean, I support restaurants in trying to generate revenue. I think that they need to come up with better ways, because these little small surcharges, they're really not cutting the cheese. It's like, I don't know, it's like a tip to the restaurant. And the restaurant is doing what they can, I get it, to survive. The government has done absolutely nothing for these small businesses. So many people are not getting their PPP loans. They're not getting their EIDL loans or grants. They're not getting nothing. The larger companies, sadly, are taking those from the small businesses, right? But I don't know, if it were me, I would probably design like a package, like a family meal deal, or you definitely don't want to lower prices. You want to keep them the same, and you need to stick to your guns on that, or like they said in the newscast, possibly just take everything up on the menu by $1. But then that means they have to pay for more menus. They have to reprint their menus. So, I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on that. I get why they're doing it. Far as I can tell, they have not done that here in Florida. But, I mean, I don't know. What do y'all think? You know? I mean, you want to support the businesses. Some people have, some people have not, through this duration of staying at home, which, again, here, most people have not stayed home. I don't know. If it were me, I would design some type of package that would increase revenue. I wouldn't charge a 5% charge on top of that, because, I mean, you have to justify your prices. So you're saying you have to pay me 5% of whatever you order to come in here and sit down and eat. And I can see why people are upset about that. But on the flip side of the coin, I can also see why they're doing it. They've taken a major cut. Delivery platforms like Grubhub, I saw one the other day where their statement was like $1,100 in gross sales, and after everything was taken out, which basically Grubhub took 70% of their sales, leaving them with like $400. So you're sitting there thinking you supported these guys all through this whole thing, and you did. I mean, on your end you did, but they were getting pennies, just like the drivers, just like the restaurant workers. I mean, they're all getting pennies. So now the time has come where everything's kind of starting to open back up, and you want to go out and sit down and eat and enjoy yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you definitely should take care of your servers. Make sure they're getting generous tips. Again, if $5 or $6 or $10 more is going to bankrupt you, then you need to get your priorities straight. You obviously cannot afford to go out to eat. So you should not go out to eat. You should not do delivery and stiff the person bringing you the food. You should stay home and cook your food. I mean, that's the bottom line. I can't afford to go out to eat, so I don't. If I do pick something up, I make sure that they're tipped. Obviously, places like Subway, McDonald's, Burger King, you don't tip the people there. But you would if somebody's bringing that to you, because you know you're going to be getting 55-gallon barrels of drinks going up to the third floor. Now, what makes you think that it's not acceptable to give somebody a tip for doing a balance act all the way up to the third floor? Again, if you can't afford to eat out and tip, you need to stay home. Bottom line. Restaurants, kind of the same thing. If you can't afford to be in business, then you should not be. But we also have that argument that people will say, well, this came on suddenly, and it did. I mean, it wasn't anybody's fault. So I don't know. I'm kind of mixed between the two. However, I would have to probably lean towards not charging a surcharge. I would have to lean towards regenerating your menu or your costs, or your prices. Obviously, if a hamburger is $10 at your establishment, they shouldn't come in and see that it's $20. If it's $9.95, take it up to $10.95 or $11.95. People will complain, but again, you're assigning a value to a product or service. They're getting that actual tangible product that they can put in their mouth. So when they leave, they paid $11.95 for a good meal and great service, and that is the key. Is stepping up your service, not kissing their ass, just stepping up the service and making sure they're not neglected, their drinks aren't empty, your restaurant is spotless, you're not bringing their food on dirty plates, things like that. You could accomplish all that. You could definitely take it up $1 to $1.50 for everything on the menu. And people probably wouldn't even notice. Anyway, that's my thought on it. That's all I got. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, like, comment, and subscribe.